Hello fellow audiophiles, phototristan back with another video, and in this video I am taking a look at and reviewing the Cavalli Audio liquid carbon headphone amplifier. This is the box that it comes in, and I'm sort of posting this video now because Cavalli Audio is doing a pre-order on these currently for only I think a week or two more as of this video. The way that Cavalli works is that you have to pay first and then they make the products, and about 3 or 4 months later you actually get shipped the amp. So you have to pay now and it's non-refundable, and then later on you actually receive the product. I sort of find that business model a little bit of a pain because it is non-refundable, and if something happens or whatever, you just can't get your money back basically. But in general, Cavalli Audio has been pretty good in terms of, reliability and actually shipping their products. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, although it is a little bit of a pain to have to pay up front. So this amplifier currently retails for $799 on the current run. And it includes a Cavalli Audio t-shirt as well as an AudioQuest power cable as well, which normally sells for $100. Prior releases of this amplifier in the prior batch, they sold it for $599, and they did not include the extras. So the price went up a little bit, but they did say at that time that they would probably have to charge more in the future. So that's just something to be aware of. Anyway, this is the amplifier here, and it's a transportable amplifier. So it's not quite portable in that it's not battery powered or anything. It's more transportable, which means that if you want to use it in a bedroom or take it to the office or something like that, it's just easier to take with you. Here's the front panel. It's a fully balanced amp, and it's a solid state amp. So here you've got the power switch here. Then you've got a single-ended 1/4 inch output here. Then you've got an RSA/Kobicon balanced output here. Here you've got a 4-pin balanced XLR output. Right here is the gain button. You press this in for high gain and out for low gain, so it's sort of a toggle button there. Here's your volume control. And then here on the right is a single-ended or balanced input switch. And I'm going to power this up and show you, because this has some LED indicators too. That's how you can kind of tell which things are on and which things are off. And then here's the top of it, and then the bottom of it. It did not come with rubber feet, so I had to actually install those separately. And then here's the back panel. So here you've got single-ended input. You also have a 3.5mm input. Then you've got 2 balanced inputs, left and right. And then you've got your power input there. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in, and you can kind of see it on while I talk about it. So I've got it powered up now. You can kind of see the LED indicators on here. When you turn it on, you can see the on indicator here is on. And then you can see these other LEDs are white. Well, if I press this in, this one turns red, so that means that high gain mode is on. I believe it's a 10 dB plus gain, if I'm not mistaken. Then turn that off, it's just the regular gain. And then you press this one in and that turns red. That means single-ended input on the back is activated. And then toggle that out, balanced inputs are activated on the back. So the Cavalli Audio liquid carbon is a unique amplifier in that it's Cavalli's lowest cost headphone amplifier. And it's a solid state amplifier, but it has sort of a tube type sound to it. So it's got a really nice warm sound to it with a quite impactful low end bass and slightly rolled off treble, but definitely the treble is still there. It's just slightly rolled off. And so it has a very musical sound to it. And I think that's why a lot of people like it. But also the bass impact is quite good on it as well. It also drives hard to drive headphones quite easily with really no problem. It can drive my Sennheiser HD800S's perfectly fine. I've also heard that it can drive things like the Mr. Speaker's Ethers perfectly fine, as well as Odyssey headphones perfectly fine as well in the balance mode. With this headphone amplifier, although it does have single-ended output, you're going to want to use balanced for the maximum power. And it's really designed to mostly, to be optimized to use in a balanced, output. That being said, I have heard on the Headphone forum that you can actually plug in a single-ended DAC to the back of this and it actually turns it into balanced. So that's another plus of this amplifier. So if you look at the back of it, I'll go ahead and unplug it for now. The back of it has a single-ended inputs here. So if you have a DAC that's not a balanced DAC, you can actually use the RCA single-ended inputs here rather than the balanced, XLRs. And this amplifier will actually turn your signal coming in from the single-ended DAC into a balanced signal. And I've heard that the way they've engineered this, they've done it so that you can barely tell a difference, and it just turns it into a really nice balanced signal. So that's another plus for this amp. It does that really, really well. And Cavalli really bills this as being a transportable amplifier. So it's something that could just sit on your desk all the time if you want, or you can take it with you places or move it around the house and stuff if you want. Although it doesn't have a battery, so you do need to plug it in, when you bring it somewhere. But the thing is, it's pretty light, it sort of fits in my hand as you can see, but it's sort of big. It is pretty light though. It's lighter than it looks, which could be good or could be bad, but it does have a very good build quality. This has got a metal case to it and stuff like that. Now, in terms of the sound, I did do a direct comparison between this liquid carbon amplifier and my Schiit Molyneux 2 balanced amplifier. And I have to say that it was kind of very close actually in terms of the sound signature of each. I found that when I was doing a comparison, like an A/B test and switching between the two, every time that I would listen to the liquid carbon amplifier, I found that I was sort of missing the details that are available in the Schiit Molyneux 2 amplifier. So that's something just to be aware of. The sound stage and the ability to sort of pick out where the instruments are on the sound stage is a little bit harder to do on this amplifier than it is to do on the Schiit Molyneux 2, which is more detailed. That being said, if I didn't have the Schiit Molyneux 2 and I only had this one, I would probably be perfectly happy because I wouldn't necessarily know what I was missing per se. And that's also not to say that the liquid carbon isn't detailed. It certainly is detailed. It's just not quite as detailed when I'm doing the direct, comparison between the Cavalli liquid carbon and the Schiit Molyneux 2 amplifier. The other thing is that the Molyneux 2, or MJ2 to make it easier to pronounce, is a tube amplifier. So that amplifier has more of a nicer mid-range, nice and smooth sort of vocals and mid-range, which does enable you to sort of hear and pick out those mid-range instruments a bit easier in the sort of soundstage, such as guitars or horn instruments for jazz and things like that. Whereas this one, for those instruments, it tends to sound a little bit more cluttered. That being said, this one does have more of an impactful bass, because in general solid state has more impactful bass in general anyway. But the difference in terms of the bass is not much from the direct comparisons that I have done. So all in all, I have to say that the Cavalli liquid carbon is really a sweet little headphone amplifier. It's hard to find much fault with it. It sounds really engaging, really musical, quite impactful, and it's surprising how good it sounds and how much power you can actually get out of this small little headphone amplifier. So I think Cavalli really did do a great job in engineering it. As solid-state headphone amplifiers go, it sounds really quite smooth and provides a really nice, almost tube-like tone, so that's a real plus for this amplifier. This amplifier does not have preamp outs, so it's strictly a headphone amplifier. However, when I compare it to my Schiit Molyneux 2 amplifier, I do start to hear the lack of detail in the liquid carbon. And certainly if you compare the liquid carbon sound to a higher end solid state amplifier, you will probably also start to hear its weaknesses as well. That said, in this price point, the Cavalli liquid carbon is a really good solid state headphone amplifier that just sounds really sweet. So thanks for watching this video, and if you're interested in it, you can check out the Cavalli website. They're only offering this for order for a few more weeks. And it's really a nice headphone amplifier, I have to say.